What's going on, everybody? It's yours truly, Coach Mike Dub. We're here once again with another version of a Commanders Insider video. Listen, I'm sure most of you all probably didn't expect us to still be here, one game away from the Super Bowl, but here we are. In the playoffs, coming off a huge historic win. And I think I speak for everybody when I say the NFL is just a little bit better when you have traditional teams like the Commanders that are competing for championships, competing for a spot in the Super Bowl, an exciting rookie quarterback, exciting playoff games all season long. We've been turning heads, and I think that we're finally on the national stage, and everybody's loving it right now, especially yours truly, Commanders fans, everybody else. So here with just a quick recap of the divisional round matchup against the Detroit Lions, as well as a quick preview of the NFC Championship game, of course, against our rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, right up 95. Listen, this weekend leading up to the game, nobody really felt like the Commanders had a chance. And I really hate saying that narrative because, Super Bowl teams all the time, they want to play the underdog card and nobody gave us a chance and woe is me type of narrative and all those things like that. I hate that narrative. I really do. I truly believe in the NFL, anybody could win. That's why they play the games. We see it happen every year. Teams come up big, teams that we expect to go to the Super Bowl, the teams that we expect that have home field advantage always end up, not always taking care of business. And, it's professional sports. And I don't think many Commanders fans are as surprised as outside fans are because of the reason that it is professional sports. There's very little difference between the team at the top and the team at the bottom when it comes to talent. Now, of course, organizationally, coaching, different things like that, that all comes into play. But when it comes down to talent level, there's not much difference between the top and the bottom. So we know anybody can win on any given Sunday. And we saw it this past, Saturday, I should say, as the Commanders went on into Detroit and came up big. But like I said, if you've been watching this team play all year long, you weren't super surprised. We went into the game knowing that there were a few things that we were going to have to win in order to come up big in a tough environment. First thing, I mentioned it in the recap video last week, was turnovers. An offense like that, you're going to have to take the ball out of their hands. You're going to have to, shift the environment. You're going to have to keep your offense on the field and keep them aggressive, keep the foot to the pedal, right? We were able to do that. It's not many NFL games that you're going to win, especially in the playoffs, turning the ball over 4 times. Golf, the Detroit Lions, they turned the ball over too many times, and we did what we were supposed to do. We capitalized off of it. We did an amazing job of not panicking either. The first drive of the game, we went down. We got to stop. We knew that's what we wanted to see, right? We got the ball. We knew if we scored, that was going to be what we needed to see all game long. We want to see, matching them. We were going to want to put up as many points as possible. We didn't score in the first drive, but we didn't panic. Stuck to the game plan, came back, stayed focused. The Lions had a great run game going with, Gibbs, and, they got him going early. And it looked a little, like things are gonna go how a lot of the experts thought it was gonna go. However, like I said, great job by the Commanders, sticking to the game plan, not panicking, and coming up big when they needed to. Big plays. If you watch the game, you notice that the Commanders had more big plays than the Lions. Now, the Lions had a consistent flow on offense. Like I said, if you take away those four turnovers, their offense looked pretty good. They were consistently moving the ball. They were coming up with first downs. They were running the ball very well, like I mentioned before with Gibbs. But when it came down to big plays, the Commanders made more big plays when it counted. Terry McLaurin, that screen, that yak, that was a big play. We've heard it before. Big time players make big time plays in big time games. The Commanders did that. Ultimately, what it came down to is the Commanders also had the best player on the field. I don't have to mention it. Everybody knows it. Jayden Daniels, I will say it was the best player on the field Saturday. And most of the time in professional sports, like I mentioned, there's not much difference in talent level, right? There's difference in organizational structure, but there's not much different in talent level across the board in professional sports. So when you have the best guy on the field, you have a chance. We had the best guy in the field, Jayden Daniels. And when you have him on the field and when you take the ball away 4 times and when you establish consistent offensive flow and you keep the other team, from getting out of hand, then you always stand a chance. And that's all we did. We gave our guys a chance to win it in the fourth quarter, gave our guys a chance to come up big. I said we were going to be aggressive. We weren't going to, go for a lot of punts or anything. We didn't punt the ball yet. We haven't punted the ball yet in 2 playoff games. Not only is that a sign of the consistent offense, but it's a sign of the aggressiveness and the faith and the message that you're sending if you're Dan Quinn. So great job by the coaching staff. Great job by the offense. Great job by the defense, forcing 4 turnovers. Yeah, we gave up a lot of points. Yeah, we gave up a lot of yards to the number 1 offense in the NFL. But when it mattered most, we came up big, right? That being said, we move on to the NFC Championship for the first time in a long time. And I know it sounds a little crazy and a little, like I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of people didn't expect this to be here. But now that we're here, who better than us than to take that next step and make it to the Super Bowl, right? Matched up against a divisional opponent, an opponent that you split with during the regular season, so you know that you can beat them. It's an opponent that doesn't look unbeatable. They don't look like Superman or anything like that. And on the other hand, like I mentioned before, we've had the best guy on the field in the past 2 games that we played, and more than that. We have a guy that's a rookie, but he's proven that he can come up big when it counts most. We have a team that counts more than anything, is playing with house money. I say that because there is no pressure on the Commanders whatsoever, right? There's only incentives to win. There's only incentives to go out there and beat the Eagles in Philadelphia. Why are there only incentives? Why is it only a plus side? Because we made it this far and we don't do moral victories. I'm not saying that, no matter what happens, we'll be satisfied. No, we want to win, right? And that's what I mean when I say playing with house money. For us to get this far and to get this close, 1 game away from the Super Bowl, it's not often that stars align the way that they are aligned for our team right now against a divisional opponent, against a team that, they look good in some aspects, but like I said, they have certain holes. They have certain holes in their team that we can definitely exploit. This is a team that we've beaten already. It's a divisional opponent. So we have the blueprint, we have the familiarity, which is always a wild card. And this is a game that is definitely winnable for the Commanders, right? The first thing that's going to have to happen, of course, is going to be the run game. I mentioned before, Detroit came up big in their run game. Jahmyr Gibbs was running the ball very well. I felt like Detroit got away from that game plan a little bit too soon. I think that they panicked a little bit. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that they are Detroit. They were probably the only franchise that's experienced more turmoil and more, you know, disgruntledness, if you want to say, than us in the past 25 years. And I think that when that doubt played in their mind, you can feel the energy shift in the stadium, and you can feel it with the way that they were calling their plays. They went to the desperation a little bit too early, and they got away from their game plan. If Philadelphia sticks with their game plan of running the ball, it's going to be tough for us. We have to stop the run. Frankie Louvu, Jeremy Chin, they're going to have to get in there and put a hat on Saquon early. And not only Saquon, they're going to also have to put a hat on Jalen Hurts, which brings me to my next point, right? Injuries. We're going to have to keep an eye on Jalen Hurts. How's he doing this year? How's he going to do this week? Is what I meant to say. Obviously his knee was, a little bit of a struggle going into that second half. Wasn't really mobile like that. And their passing game has already not really been a cohesive unit. Obviously, the big news around Brown and his disgruntledness, not to make too much of it, but it's a unit that hasn't really seen a lot of cohesiveness. So that may be something that you want to exploit. Jalen Hurts is going to have to win this game. Anybody but Saquon. I'll live with Jalen Hurts throwing for 350 yards, for A.J. Brown going for 8 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. If that happens, I'll live with that. I'll sleep a little bit easier than I would sleep if Saquon ran for 250 or ran for 300 or something like that. We can't let Saquon beat us. As good as he is, we have to do whatever it takes to put a hat on him and to stop the run. We can't let a team beat us that's been doing this the whole time when we know it's coming. So that's what I'm looking for in the coaching staff. Stopping the run, be dedicated to stopping the run. They're going to have to beat us throwing the ball, right? I don't believe that they can do it. They got weapons, but they haven't really been connecting yet. So they were going to have to make them prove it, right? I mentioned injuries. We are down Sam Cosmi, who will be out for the rest of the season. Messed up his ACL in the game against the Lions, so that's going to hurt. It's going to be hard for us to establish a consistent run game on our end, but that's something that's going to have to happen as well. If not just the run game, then the short passing game. There's going to be times where you're going to have to convert those short yardage situations where you're going to have to win in the trenches. Obviously, the Eagles have a tough defense, so we're going to have to keep up that consistent offensive flow like we did against Detroit, right? Last thing I will say, there's absolutely no pressure once again on the Commanders. Even though this is a game that we want to win, we're only one game away from the Super Bowl. The pressure is all on Philadelphia. If they don't win this game, it's a lot of panic that probably will be happening in Philadelphia. And I say panic because it's a team that was expected to get this far. It's a team that was expected to look better than they've looked, even though that they haven't looked terrible. But like I said, they haven't really been cohesive in their passing game. Saquon has shouldered the load. Without him, who knows where this team would be? And I think that if they don't win this game and if they don't perform well in this game, we could see a lot of changes in Philadelphia from the coaching staff, maybe from some personnel issues. I don't know. But I say that to say that we're going into this game with all the advantages of, just playing football, not having to worry about anything else but just playing football. Nobody expected us to be here in the first place. Like I said before, the phrase for this playoffs, we're playing with house money. But we're one game away. And yes, it's a winnable game for us. Yes, the stars are aligned for us. Yes, if we take care of our keys to victory, as always, forcing turnovers, stopping the run, coming up big with big plays, Terry or other guys, then we can win this game. And I completely expect us to win this game. So, when all is said and done, I look forward to the game on Saturday. Probably ride up to Philly. Is going to be a lot of Washington fans taking that trip up to 95. And what better environment to do it in against a divisional opponent? So, looking forward to it. One more game, and we're off to New Orleans, right? Can't wait. Commanders, bring home the W. Let's make it to the Super Bowl.